All right, moment of truth. I'm in the agreed upon clothes for this. So that's my first weigh-in, day 7. 22 stone and 11 and a quarter pounds. I'm gonna have to subtract about 1.5 stones due to the fact that I'm wearing combat boots, a pistol holster with a resin Zed Nicktel inside it, holding a P90, and wearing this plate carrier. Yeah, sorry, I can't do that with a straight face. Cut! Well, 21 stone and 10 pounds. I believe that's a loss of 6.5. So I'm still over 300, but that's something. It does bear remembering when I weighed myself in a week ago, I had eaten 2 of my meals that day, and it was later in the day. So I was heavier at the start of that day than I would have been. So my first weight loss looks a little more impressive than maybe it is. Or maybe I'm just being pessimistic, while trying to be realistic. But I'm pretty damn happy with that. Alright, now talking over a bunch of still images of a bunch of letters and numbers isn't the most exciting thing in the world, so I will keep this brief. For most mornings, I've tried to have egg on toast for breakfast in some shape or form. Those of you who watched the day 1 video will have seen me making it with dry toast. It was gross. I did not do it after that. I made it with butter from then on, but we will go over the calories of that. My breakfast ended up being 426 calories. My lunch ended up being 900 calories. I did like an entire bag of that Nando's chicken thing and used the rest of the calories as like my snacks for the day. And for dinner, I had that pizza that I showed a photograph of the day after. There was also a bit of dipping sauce with it. You may recall as well, there were empty dipping pots visible on camera, which I explained as being very useful for portion control. And as you can see, they are. I was able to measure the exact amount of calories in the sauce I was eating, and that helped. Now, sometimes the cookies that I put in that I have with my coffee, I'll log them as snacks. Sometimes I'll log them alongside the meal I had the coffee with. It just depends how I'm feeling that day. But also on the way home from taking the captain's dog out for a walk, I bought a Fry's Turkish Delight on the way home. It's one of my favorites. I'm one of those whack jobs who actually likes Turkish Delight. But as a result, I had a calorie deficit at 855 by the end of the day, which, not bad, considering how much I had. But what I don't believe I've got visible on the screen was it says along the bottom there, I had 773 calories from exercise. I don't log every bit of walking around I do unless it's actually like for more than 10 minutes. Like if I simply walk across the road to the store and then just come back, I don't log that. But if I say walk all the way to work, I will log the walk to work. If I take the captain's dog out for a walk, I will log that. He said we did about 5 miles that day, so it was pretty significant. Onward to Monday, and this is where I started buttering my toast. The amount of calories added was pretty negligible, really, and so I don't feel particularly bad about it. The amount of fat added may be more concern. However, I'm not really trying to focus on the nutrients right now, just the calories. I have done this in the past and had excellent results. Focusing on the nutrients is more important if you're doing like keto or something, where obviously you got to make sure you have virtually no carbs going in and a fairly minimal amount of protein. But I digress. For lunch, I had lunch at work, so I bought a sandwich and a sort of little snack alongside the sandwich along the way there. The sandwich was insanely high in sodium. Store-bought sandwiches usually are, so that's going to cause a bit more water retention, a bit more water weight. That's on me, my problem. And then a chicken biryani from Tesco for dinner because it was late at night. When I say lunch, by the way, yeah, I had a very late lunch at work and then had it even late at dinner. There was some snacking as well. Those things that say orange biscuits, they're sort of like little butter biscuits with chocolate orange on top. I try to, again, I'll have a pack in the cupboard or the fridge, and I will go out of my way not to eat them all in one day. I'm doing my best to make sure they sit in my cupboard as long as possible. It's kind of a pride thing, and it's to prove that I can portion control. This is going to pay off at the end of the week, by the way. Tuesday, once again, buttered my toast for lunch. I ended up having lunch at work again, which meant buying something on the way in. There were some hash browns left over from their breakfast service, so I helped myself to a couple of those. You know, I'm not going to lie, they were really nice. I got a real weakness for crunchy food. I don't know, I just really like crunchy food. It's probably doesn't help considering one of the best ways to make food that crunchy is to deep fry it. Nevertheless, there was an 831 deficit that day, so no serious harm done. And dinner, I had pretty much the same thing as you saw in that other video I did. Sometimes when I'm just not sure what else to do, I will just throw some chicken in some tin foil with some seasoning or some covering, and then put some vegetables in the steamer. Although it does seem I've logged the wrong kind of bag and bake thingy to it. It doesn't matter. It's like, again, the calories are virtually nothing in the grand scheme of things. I did end up having a bottle of Orange Tango while I was at work. You know, they've put less sugar in it, but it's still not no sugar. It's still pretty disturbing how much is in those. I seem to recall that morning Wednesday. What was I doing Wednesday? God, I've already forgotten. But I seem to remember I was in a hurry, so I just dipped a shitload of those Biscoff cookies into my coffee and just sort of hoped that would hold me over until it was lunchtime. When it was lunchtime, I had curry and a mini naan bread. And then dinner, I was on a late shift of work, so my dinner did end up being yet another one of those store-bought sandwiches with arguably way too much sodium in it. No, it's not arguable. It's undisputable. It's got way too much sodium in it. But I also ended up buying an apple smoothie as part of the meal deal. I don't know why I logged it under snacks, but there it is. It was pretty nice, actually. I've noticed that the amount of sugar isn't actually properly recorded on MyFitnessPal. I should probably look into that. Thursday, once again, egg on toast for breakfast. I believe Thursday was my day off, so for lunch I was just able to have another curry and naan bread. And for dinner, I once again just did the classic throw some chicken in the oven with some seasoning and put some vegetables in the steamer. This was when I started adding mushrooms, once I discovered that mushrooms are about 8 calories per 100 grams. They're mostly water, they make you feel full, they've got a somewhat amount of protein in them, but they've also got plenty of fiber in them, I believe, which was pretty nice. This was around the time I'd started using those little char-grilled chicken fillet thingies as snacks instead of chips. And then finally we come to yesterday. Now yesterday, of course, I gave sort of a tour of my pantry, showing how much crap I had removed from my kitchen, and how little crap was left in there, and how I was moderating the consumption of it. Yesterday, you'll notice I've used less butter on my egg on toast than usual. This is because I didn't butter the toast. I buttered the pan and made scrambled eggs. This used less butter than buttering the toast, to my surprise. So I'm going to try and make a habit of having scrambled egg on toast for breakfast instead of the usual, splattered soft-boiled eggs. Lunch took almost as long to freaking record as it did to prepare, but I'm going to be flashing some photos up on the screen of what I was actually making and what I actually had. You'll see things like this ketchup and soy sauce and bright white vinegar in there, and little crushed chili flakes. That was me making a stir-fry sauce. Little things like the seasonings, like the crushed ginger powder and the additional salt and pepper I put in there. I couldn't even get the scale to register the amount I was adding to the sauce, so I just did not log them. But then what I did was I infused the oil with some bird's eye peppers and the garlic, and just left that doing that on a low heat while I got everything else ready. And then once everything was chopped up and ready to go, I cooked the chicken in it, and then just stir-fried the veggies and added the sauce. Looking at the calorie count, I actually could have gotten away with making a much bigger helping of the sauce. In future, I will be, because I know I can. I also completely forgot to include the hoisin sauce I was going to put in the sauce I was making. As a result of me making such a small quantity of sauce, but still putting the usual amount of spices in that I might, well, the usual amount of hot, peppery stuff in that I might, it ended up being wicked spicy and not tasting of all that much. So I'm going to christen this failed experiment the Vapid Scoville. There we go, Vapid Scoville. I was then out for the rest of the day, so on my way home, I bought one of those Pizza Express things for my dinner. I originally logged the entire pizza on here. And then, a short while later, while I was baking, I just thought, I'm just going to cut the pizza in half. I'm only going to bring half the pizza out of the kitchen with me. And then I'm just going to make sure I don't look into the kitchen again. This worked. I only ate half the pizza. The other half, okay, maybe not the smartest thing to do, but the other half became my breakfast this morning. This cold pizza for breakfast is freaking delicious. And with the weight loss I'd had, and with the actual relative calorie count of the pizza in question, I feel like I'd earned it. In fact, I think the cold pizza, just going back and looking, the cold pizza actually had a lower calorie count than my usual egg on toast. Yeah, the nutrients won't be as good. The fact that I haven't had eggs for breakfast is probably going to do weird stuff to my hunger pangs through the rest of the day, because usually eating eggs for breakfast makes me less hungry. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how this week has gone. The fact that I'm starting to really master well, not master is a strong word, I've been doing it for a few days. The fact that after all this time, I seem to be getting the hang of not just portion measurement, but also the idea that I don't have to just clean my plate in a single sitting. I can make something, only eat half of it as part of one meal, and then use the rest as a meal later. I don't know why, this used to feel impossible to me just a short time ago, and yet just after a few days of doing it, it feels so easy. I was just scared to do it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I was a goddamn glutton. You get the point, though. But that's my food diary for the week. Here's to several more weeks of progress. See you soon.